Hey everyone! Welcome to the podcast for people who want to read more deeply and get wisdom. I'm your host, Angelica Cable, a homeschool mom of 3 with a passion for discussing classic literature. In today's episode, I chat about chapters 1 and 2 of C.S. Lewis's self-proclaimed greatest book, Till We Have Faces. I'm chatting with Adalyn, who's 15, and my daughter, Esther, who's 14. The classics can be intimidating, but we want you to read along with us through this great psychological novel because this is a book that will get you obsessed with reading the classics and reading all books more deeply. In the first episode of this series, we're going to open up the themes that C.S. Lewis brings up, ones that we will keep tracking with as we read through the book. So let's dive into this awesome conversation.
See, this book was like a huge shock in general, like just from the first page. You're like, what is happening? Because I'm very, very familiar with this myth. It's one of my favorites. First of all, it's not even set in Greece. It's weird.
It's not even, the main character is not Psyche.
Oh, yeah.
Well, not yet. I mean, the opening, probably, I guess you could say that.
It is not from her perspective.
It's not from her perspective. That's true. I guess you're right. There's no way Psyche is the main character.
No.
Yeah.
So from the first page, this whole thing was crazy because it was about cutting people's hair.
Yes.
Haircuts. Yay.
I want to read the first paragraph because I was like, ooh, you could analyze this and figure out so much about the story. I'm old now and have not much to fear from the anger of gods. I have no husband, nor child, nor hardly a friend, through whom they can hurt me. My body, this lean carrion that still has to be washed and fed and have clothes hung about it daily with so many changes, they may kill as soon as they please. The succession is provided for. My crown passes to my nephew. So what did you gather from that? What do you know about her?
Well, she's telling a story, for one. This is not modern. It's not happening at the time that it's being told. I don't know how to say that. And 2, she has no care for anyone anymore. So she has nothing left to lose by saying all of these things because she's obviously going to go into some things that might anger some gods. And she calls herself a carrion. That's like a dead body. Mm-hmm. So obviously she just has no affection for anything.
Mm-hmm. She has a kingdom. She has a crown. She's an important figure. She has a nephew who is very important, apparently, who will get her crown. And yes, she has no care to live. And also she has a body that needs a lot of change of clothes.
Very intriguing opening paragraph. Way to go, C.S. Lewis. So I'm guessing all the people we've read about so far die. That was one thing. I was like, well, I guess her sister dies.
Or Mentor.
Yeah, Fox.
Another really weird thing that happened was in the original myth, Psyche and her sisters do not get along whatsoever. They are constantly jealous of her. Mm-hmm. But in this, she is very affectionate towards Psyche. She loves Psyche and she does not envy her beauty. In fact, like she praises it constantly and she's very happy that her sister is beautiful. And she takes care of her as if she were her mother. And that was just very shocking. Because I thought, it's established that Oriel is not beautiful. I would get jealous of my sister if she was way prettier than me. But she didn't.
So do you think that will change or stay?
I think over time, once Oriel realizes how much Psyche benefits from her beauty, I think she will become jealous of those benefits. And she'll realize, like, what do I have? Because I'm not beautiful. I'm so ugly that nobody cares about me. I think jealousy will seep into their relationship and ruin it.
I wonder if Psyche will turn on Oriel. Start to disdain her or something. There's got to be some break in their relationship, I think, for the story to work.
Yes.
I would guess. What do you think of the fox?
I think the fox is demonic. He is wily. He is smart. He is wise. He is self-centered. He would rather commit suicide than work. I think he's an atheist.
Yeah. The fox is definitely very fox-like in personality. He also likes poetry, but he doesn't like to admit that he likes poetry.
When I read about the fox, I just hear C.S. Lewis, and I don't remember what I have read that he either talks directly about this in like a nonfiction sort of way, or if there's another character in some of his books that are like the fox. I agree with Esther. I think the fox is an atheist, and he probably is like a realist that doesn't believe there's anything outside of the physical world. But then poetry breaks in, and his heart just soars. And he's like, no, it's really nothing. But there's a story. He'll begin a story, and he's so engrossed in the magic of it that he can't admit that there's something greater than the physical world, but he also can't deny it in his spirit. And so I think C.S. Lewis was super crafty when he wrote The Fox, and he's really making a point with him.
I think the fox is going to be the one who ruins their family, because he has this quote: prettier than Andromeda, prettier than Helen, prettier than Aphrodite herself, said the fox. Speak words of better omen, grandfather, I said, though I knew he would scold me and mock me for saying it. For at his words, though on that summer day the rocks were too hot to touch, it was as if a soft, cold hand had been laid on my left side, and I shivered. He's the first one who idolizes Psyche above all things, and that will lead to Psyche's downfall and to her sisters.
This whole book is written as an accusation to the gods. So I know there's some connection there, with the beginning paragraph, like, I'm accusing the gods. I don't care if you get mad at me, just kill me, whatever. And then having Oriel saying like, whoa, like the gods are listening, this is dangerous talk. So maybe this will go into more an accusation of the gods for their response to speech like the fox. But I love the fox.
I know.
And his teaching is so delightful. I mean, imagine Oriel's life before the fox or without the fox is awful.
So now I want to talk about the dad.
Trauma glom. What do you think of the king?
I think he's a disgusting womanizer who only sees women as baby-making machines.
Wow. I agree with that assessment. How could he kill that little boy? I don't know. He just stabs him. What in the world?
A wild rage.
And poor wife.
And it was because he had a girl, right?
Yes.
Because he had a daughter. So he...
Not even because his wife died. Just because he had another daughter. All he wants is a son. And he treats them terribly for just being girls. And that's a crazy theme.
Well, we know from the beginning paragraph, Oriel will take over the kingdom. It's already falling apart under his mismanagement. And I bet she's going to do really well because she had the fox as a mentor.
And she's going to be like, look, see, even us girls can do stuff.
Right.
And even though he wanted a boy, we were still the good heirs. We shouldn't have just been cast aside because we were girls or we were ugly or whatever.
Even in the climactic moment of the death of his wife and the birth of another daughter, he says, faces, faces, faces. Did y'all catch that? I tried looking around that quote and I don't have any clue why he said faces. I don't understand it at all.
The faces of the gods staring down upon him.
He's in a wild rage and he just looks around and he just sees all these faces.
Yeah.
And is overwhelmed. But I don't know what that has to do with the book. What does the title have to do with the book? Till we have faces.
What if it's about the oldest daughter, how she's kind of cast aside in the original myth? She's important to a specific part of the plot, but then after that, she's just cast aside, really. And she's not even named in the myth. C.S. Lewis's name, it's completely new, made up by him. I think it's maybe a representation of she's faceless in the fact that she has none of her own narrative.
She also feels very mysterious. Even though I know she is ugly, I get the impression she has a deformity or something hideously ugly, not just your normal, not pretty person. Yes. And she seems faceless almost, where there's a veil over her And I don't think she knows what she looks like. She gets impressions. She hears a few things. She figures out she's ugly, but I don't think she really knows what she looks like. You've finished reading chapter 2. What questions now do you have?
How is the dad gonna die? I'm so excited for it.
I think he will die of his own doing, He's going to bring it upon himself, for sure.
Wrath of the gods, maybe.
Oh, maybe.
That would be really nice.
What are your impressions of Unglet in the land of Gloam?
She is very emotional. I think, she is pure emotion because she goes through spurts, having a bunch of girls taking care of her statue and stuff to having child sacrifices. And it just changes a lot. Actually, lots of the servants of the king, their daughters go to her because he doesn't like daughters.
I think she's their matron goddess, I would say, because she is her priest is very prominent. She is very prominent. And I think that was the first god that the fox was introduced to in their culture.
I was surprised by how she appears. It's not beautiful at all. Aphrodite, when I think of her, I think of her being very beautiful, and she's more of a block.
Block?
Yeah, she had a few features, but it was mostly a big rock. So here's the description of Unglet and her home. Beyond the house of Unglet, going all the time east and north, you come quickly to the foothills of the Grey Mountain. The god of the Grey Mountain, who hates me, is the son of Unglet. He does not, however, live in the house of Unglet, but Unglet sits there alone. In the furthest recess of her house, where she sits, it is so dark that you cannot see her well. But in summer, enough light may come down from the smoke holes in the roof to show her a little. She is a black stone without head or hands or face, and a very strong goddess. My old master, whom we called the fox, said she was the same whom the Greeks call Aphrodite. But I write all the names of people and places in our own language. So yeah, a black stone without head or hands or face.
Is it a statue of her? A temple dedicated to her?
Yes.
The Grey Mountains is where Cupid lives, and that's where Psyche's gonna go. And Psyche, later on, the first quote we have of her says, "When I'm big," she said, "I will be a great, great queen, married to the greatest king of all, and he will build me a castle of gold and amber up there on the very top." Everything is pointing to her and Cupid getting married. Everything.
I think at the end of the chapter it ends with us in view of the Grey Mountains.
I wonder, was this book written before or after Screwtape Letters or Chronicles of Narnia? And where does this book fit in the timeline of C.S. Lewis's writings and his faith as well? Because this is very different from Screwtape Letters, of course. And so I just wondered, how did his writing style evolve, for one? And was this, near the end of his life or near the beginning of his writing career?
He wrote a lot more books for adults, right? Later on. And I think this is a novel for adults. I wonder how much the writing style in this book is his space trilogy as well. Because I feel like that would probably be the most similar.
C.S. Lewis was an incredible person to take a pagan myth and see Christianity in it.
Yes.
And if that happens in this, it would be incredible, really.
She obviously doesn't become a Christian.
Oh, no. So far, I think the impression I've gotten is that our God is not as emotional or quick to anger as Unglet. Uriel is constantly in fear of being struck down for saying the wrong thing when, God is merciful.
This whole book is her accusing the gods of wrongdoing, which kind of reminds me of Job. But when Job ended up realizing that there is no accusation that can hold against the one true God. So I wonder if that will be a way that it connects, where it's like, well, yeah, there's a lot of accusation against Aphrodite or her son. But if you're encountering the true God, there's no accusation.
What's hard about this book is that I love the main character. She's just so loving, such a mother. The quote I was looking for earlier said, I wish I could be Psyche's brother because then I could be proud of her. I wish I could be her mother, then I could love her like a mom. I wish I could be her full-blood sister because I could love her. And I wish I could be a lover so she'd love me.
My favorite was, I wish she was my slave so I could set her free and give her all my riches. It's a really weird picture, and you're like, that sounds terrible. But the more you look into it, you're like, oh, I see what she's getting at. Yeah. She wants to raise Psyche up.
And she's so humble.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I love Oriole too. Are you getting at what is hard for you is it will be tragic for her. Yeah.
Yes.
I know from the very beginning, she is not going to have a happy life. All right. I think that was a super profitable discussion because now I feel like there's so many things that I want to look for as I move forward in the book.
Yes.
This would be a great one to write symbols. Like every time I see the gray mountain, I'll draw a little mountain beside it to call attention to that theme, or maybe the faceless or faces theme. Are there any other themes that you would take special note of?
Beauty.
The wrath of the gods.
Maybe Fox's thoughts on life. Okay, wonderful. I can't wait to read more. I love it. I love the writing style. I think it's so interesting. It's not hard to read, but he's saying something very deep. So thank you, ladies, so much.
I'm convinced that talking about great books is the way to fall in love with them. I know that after this conversation, I couldn't wait to read on to see how C.S. Lewis addresses the issues that he brings up right at the get-go. It only gets better from here. Thanks for joining us. Go forth and read courageously.